Simulator racing has become a key part of everything that we do, and we're going to discuss that today in the video. We're going to look at two key aspects. The first is looking at it in relation to how to analyze your data. Is it worth it using solutions from companies like AIM? And then the second thing we're going to look at is, does it make sense to actually install and invest in an actual dash that you can put as part of your sim rig to be able to enhance the experience and use something that you may be very familiar with if you have it in your race car. Hello and welcome to this video. Now, like many of you, you probably embraced sim racing like I did last year, based upon the fact that we were in lockdown, we couldn't race. We may have wanted to be able to start enhancing our skills and keep our proficiency levels up. And similarly, there was something that was really fun to do with your friends. And so, despite the fact that I'd tried sort of simulator type racing years and years ago with Forza on the Xbox, I really embraced iRacing this last year for one simple reason, and that was because you could start to download the data and really understand and analyze how you were doing. Now, this was a huge draw for me because I'm somebody who absolutely loves looking at a bit of data. I think it's a key component to any kind of racing. In fact, I personally now believe that if you don't have data as part of your racing, you're somehow disadvantaged over other races. And so today we're going to talk about that and how that crossover is starting to happen with solutions from companies like AIM to be able to bridge that gap between offline racing and online racing. So in May 2020, AIM released two features that allowed you to be able to start, as I said, bridging that gap. The first was a software update to Race Studio 3 that allowed you to download the data from iRacing or from Assetto Corsa or rFactor 2 and then convert those files into data that could be read in the Race Studio 2 analysis and now Race Studio 3 analysis software. Now, the reason that this is a huge advantage for somebody like me is that all of a sudden I had all of these tools that I was very familiar with, but with new data that was coming in from a simulator. What's also fantastic is that there's also so many more channels that sometimes weren't available to somebody who races like I do, a car that has very few actual channels. And so at maximum, I think it's 72 channels that come in from the simulator information from somewhere like iRacing, and so that gave a lot of information to be able to analyze. Now, many people have asked, well, why do you use the AIM software to be able to analyze the data? Surely solutions from companies like VRS or Virtual Racing School really do serve that simulator community really well, which they do. And I have to say that some of those solutions which allow you to be able to understand your racing against other drivers, especially the very fast sim racers, is a hugely attractive value proposition. But for me, the reason that I continue to use the AIM software is familiarity. I want to be in a position where, as I work between offline and online with my actual racing at a racetrack and my online sim experience, I'm using the same software to be able to understand and enhance my skills. Now, for many of you, I would recommend that it's something that you try. The software is free. I'll put a link in the description box below that allows you to be able to go and download the data. Plus, in the top right hand side of this video, I'll put a link that actually shows you how to be able to download the data from solutions like iRacing. It comes down from the telemetry and an IBT file, how you convert that in Race Studio 3, and then how you import that into Race Studio 2 or 3 analysis to be able to understand that data. So use those tutorials, have a go, because one of the things you may find, as many of us who want to be able to bridge that gap of familiarity between off and online, it's a really useful tool and a really useful feature to be able to use. So the next thing I want to be able to talk about is the dash, because unlike the software, which is free, the dash is an investment. Now, I can't tell you whether you should or shouldn't invest, but what I can tell you is some of the advantages that I've seen having a dash as part of my sim rig setup. And so the first thing is customization. Yes, you do get some absolutely amazing dashes as part of the iRacing or any of the simulator times of experiences, and they usually mimic what's in the actual race car. But depending on what type of race you're doing and what you want to be able to see, sometimes you want to be able to customize your view. For example, if you want to be able to see less information because all you want is, for example, speed, RPMs, gear, and how much fuel you've got left, that's an option. If you want to see every piece of information, that's also an option to use. So being able to customize the view for you is something that I've found to be really, really valuable. The second thing is familiarity. Because I have an AIM dash and I use the AIM software, the Race Studio 3 software, to be able to configure that dash, having a dash with a simulator setup has allowed me to be able to develop new skills that I will take to both offline and online racing. Setting up alarms, setting up math channels, setting up views, and being able to understand how that works has been a really fantastic way of being able to enhance my skills during lockdown. And so that familiarity is a huge plus if you want to be able to continue to enhance your experiences in any kind of racing you do. And that leads into the third advantages from having the dash as well, which is trial and error. I don't know about you, but I've made the mistake of having too many dashes or having too much information on a dash view itself, which I found to be distracting and difficult to be able to work with. And so over time I've developed what I really need to be able to, race with, and then having nothing more than that, which I think is really important. Having the minimum amount of information, which truly is the maximum amount of information that you need as you're on racetrack, is really important. And so not having 5 pages of configurations is really important. Plus that trial and error allows you to be able to try different things, whether you've created a new math channel, whether you've created a set of alarms. You can upload it to your dash, try it out while you're simulator racing, and then actually sort of say, well, that worked and that didn't work, and be able to work through that trial and error and really enhance those experiences. And so here are some of the things, or those are some of the things I should say that really are an advantage to having the dash in your actual, or on your actual sim rig setup. So to sum up, should you go out and buy one of the AIM dashes? Should you use the software to be able to analyze your data? Well, I can't tell you the answer to that being yes or no. That's going to be at your discretion. But what I will say is that from my point of view, and a recommendation that I have, is that if you're somebody who has AIM hardware in your race car, if you're somebody who's used the AIM software to be able to improve your driving in the offline world, then in many instances, if you can mimic that in the virtual world, then you're going to be able to continue to enhance your experiences, enhance your skills, and understand more about how to analyze data to find speed, whether that's on a virtual racetrack or a real racetrack. And so first and foremost, if you're somebody who is bridging that gap between both worlds, definitely think about using some of these solutions. Now the dash is something which is a luxury. It's something that again is going to be user preference. But if you're somebody who wants to really understand how alarms work, how to feed in math channels, how to be able to change the way the view looks, to be able to give you exactly what you need when you're on track, but nothing more, then I'd also recommend thinking about getting one of these dashes because it will really help in that offline world as well. Now, if you're a sim racer watching this and you're thinking about whether this makes sense for you, again, that's going to be at your discretion. But what I will say is the fact that these software services are free. And to be able to enhance your understanding of your driving, analyzing this data will make you faster no matter where you're racing, and especially if you're racing in the virtual world. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more of these types of video and the tutorials and all the things that we talk about. Interestingly enough, if you're virtual or real racing, it doesn't matter in many respects with these analysis videos because they'll be applicable no matter where your data has come from. Please leave a comment in the box below. I'd love to know what you think about the simulator racing solutions that are here. And with that, I'll say thanks so very much for watching.